And another Wednesday is here. We're about to learn, the life story or get to know the life story of one great gentleman here in Ghana. Now, let me quickly introduce him. He is a special individual today. We're spending time with him. He spent a chunk of his lifetime in the limelight, if you ask me, breaking new grounds and initiating industry-changing ideas. Just like the sprinter he was in his heydays. He always, he's always been in the fast lane, acting as the driving force behind massive transformations in the creative arts industry. Born and raised in Accra, he was a 400-meter silver medalist at All Africa Games held in Dakar, Senegal, back in 1963. During the athletics at the 1965 All Africa Games held in Brazzaville, Republic of Congo, he was a bronze medalist on the 4x4 relay Ghana team. He moved to the United States of America back in 1966, where he studied music at the New York School of Music and then the interior decoration at the LaSalle University in Chicago, Illinois. He played non-professional baseball while in the United States of America. He returned to Ghana in 1985 and released an album, Africa Responds to the World. This won him the Entertainers, Critics and Reviewers Association of Ghana ECRAC Award. He has since released 16 albums in Ghana. Now, he has been the past president of the Musicians Union of Ghana, that is MUSIGA, Musicians Union of Ghana, and vice president of the International Federation of Musicians, FIM. He was also awarded the Grand Medal by former president, His Excellency John Ajay for his contribution to the development of arts. Alhaji Sidiku Buari is my guest on Leaderboardseries this morning. So I read a lot about my guest this morning, and I'm super pleased to have the opportunity to sit with him here. I was telling him before the interview started. I mean, when I came to Accra, this was 2011. I was literally stalking him because I'd heard and watched so much about him. I just needed to catch a glimpse of him. I mean, how he lives his life and all that. And I was super privileged to live in the hood. I'm not going to mention where. That's where I landed when I came to Accra. And he had a house there, so I would periodically go and sit at one corner. There were a cluster of shops opposite. I would just go there as if I'm going to buy something and then go and hide there and see if I could. I never succeeded at that, though, but today we are blessed. You're actually here with us. Good to have you here, sir.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Now, I read the bio, and I'm seeing a lot of sporting activities there. I mean, things that I never knew. How did you get into sports at such a tender age? Was it something you loved genuinely, or you fell into it?
Yeah, what happened is when I was in school, I happened to actually participate in most of sporting activities. I'm very particular in athletics.
Okay.
You know, I happen to be the 400 meters champion all school, since from the middle school.
Wow.
And then when I grew up, I went to the sports stadium. And then that time there was, I don't know whether you know him, it's called Ohinijan. He was then the director of sports.
Was he the one the stadium was named after?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great.
Ohinijan was the one who called me.
Nice.
And then I was actually, practicing at that time. And then he said he wanted to see me, And I was, to look at somebody who was in a high level, wanted to see me. I quickly went to the office, and then he handed me over to Isi Nyaku. He was then our national coach, Ghana national coach at that time. And then that was in 1963.
Wow.
And that same year, I started training with the national athlete. And then, luckily, I became the Ghana national champion, 400 meters. I became Ghana national champion that year, 1963.
1963. How old were you at that time?
Oh, I was 23.
National champion at 23.
Yeah, the champion as 23. I was, well, anyway, so I represented Ghana. I was selected to represent Ghana in African Games that was held in Dakar, Senegal.
Yeah.
And then I won a silver medal for Ghana. And that was the first time I had opportunity of shaking our president, Usajifu Dr. Kwame Nkrumah.
Wow, you shook his hands.
And then I was later attached to Workers' Brigade, where they gave me a motorbike at that time because it was honor to the Workers' Brigade because they love sports. By then it was the one controlling Workers' Brigade is called Abibio.
Okay.
Then the same year, I was asked to represent Ghana in West African game that was held in Ibadan, Nigeria. And then I won 1 gold, 1 silver, and that was 4x400 meters relay and 400 meters flat. And then in 1964, that time we were going to Tokyo Olympic Games. Then I have a muscle injury.
Wow.
So I realized.
Had to fall back.
And then in 1965, I was among the quartet who won a bronze medal for Ghana.
Wow.
So I have never traveled out of this country without bringing medal to Ghana.
To Ghana.
At that time. So, well, I said, it was a great opportunity, that I was lucky, that I would say, but I trained hard. I was always determined. Whatever I want to do in life,
You just put your whole heart in it.
Put my whole heart.
Wow.
I trained hard for it, and I achieved my aim.
I just love the fact that you mentioned whenever you traveled outside Ghana on the ticket of Ghana, you came back with medals.
Well, it's very surprising because even at that time, Orijan was surprised. I've never traveled, I've never left this country without bringing a medal
back.
And that I feel so proud, to be one of the athletes at that time who have actually represented the nation. And I think, it makes me happy.
It makes you happy and proud,
yes,
definitely.
Yes.
You mentioned that you met our late president,
Yes.
Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Do you remember the words, the conversation you had with him?
Well, congratulations.
Wow.
Oh, you've done very well.
Wow.
And the man really, he loves sports.
Wow.
Seriously. And I was lucky to, shook his hand, and that made me so proud.
Beautiful experience. And you were quite young at that time. I mean, I'm sure how if we're to bring it back to now, you get the opportunity to shake the hands of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. You go back to school and your friends all will raise you to that next level.
That's right. That's right.
That's beautiful. Anyways, let's go way back to the beginning of this entire story. Tell us about growing up here in Accra during a very different period in time. I mean, I grew up in a different period in time. You grew up in a totally different period in time. How were things like growing up? The challenges you faced as a young guy, the sources of fun for you back then. What are the things that you were generally involved in?
Well, my time, is quite different from what is happening now, if you can understand me very well. I grew up at Cowlin. If you know Cowlin, that's where they call Opera Square now.
Opera Square, okay.
Okay, just around that side. And we happen to be very close to Bukum. Bukum,
yes, the boxing area.
The heart of Ghana, area. And seriously, we've been like brothers and sisters, and we've been working together and doing everything together. And I believe at that time we were so strong when you talk about sports. For Bukom, what they actually, what they are good in is boxing.
It's boxing. That's the heart of boxing, yeah.
But in Cowlin, we have a lot of like B. Bashiru. Arohi also represented Ghana in Olympic Games and things like that. And then there was a man called Gadangati 99 and so on and so forth. They grew up in Cowlin. And myself, okay? So, in Cowlin, but we love sports at that time. But things were not easy at that time. Situation was very, tough when you talk about the situation at that time. Because it's not like this time when, if you are a footballer, you make millions, and so on and so forth. Because I remember I started with Baba Yara was then playing, and because we were all selected to Republicans, that time there was an athletics before football. Every football, before they play football, they
have to be an athlete
just to train them for the national game, especially the national athlete. So they get these Olympics, House of Folk, players, the top players, and then they put all of them into Republicans.
Okay.
So they represent Republicans. But Republicans happen to be like a national team at that time.
Team back then, okay.
And I was also running for Republicans. And that time I was living actually at Usu.
Okay.
Okay, with Baba Yara.
Okay.
You know, and Dogomuru, you know.
Same Baba Yara Kumasi Sports Stadium was named after?
Kumasi Sports Stadium I'm talking about.
Okay.
As I say, I'm 81 years old.
Yeah,
You know, so you have lived for some time, you know. So if I'm giving you the whole story, you have to understand where I'm coming from. Yes. So, you know, life was not because we play wholeheartedly to represent this nation, whatever we do. Okay, we do it for the nation. And we don't care whatever happens, you know. We go all out to make sure at least we do our best to represent our nation at that time. But that time we don't do it for money.
Okay.
You know, but
money was not the motivation.
It wasn't the motivation. The motivation is to do it. You know, you just believe in yourself that
the
you
pride
are going out
get for representing the nation.
And bring honor to your country.
That's true.
And that's what we've been doing at that time, and it works. But looking at the life that time, things were tough but better also at the same time, because things are, you know, food, everything were cheap and you can get everything more reasonable. It's not like today. I'm talking about the time where there is no computer, there was no...
technology, you know, had not advanced to this level.
Yes, because the time that there was no computer, if you look at the situation now, when you talk about the musicians even, you know, you talk about the situation now, you realize that I don't think they make money on performances, okay? Not in production, you know, like whenever they record the music. During our time, when we record, we sell our album, we sell a CD, we sell a cassette, we make money out of it, and then we perform. All this brings a lot of money.
Yeah.
But today, it's not like that. Everything goes digital. You see, and it's through digital that you can, and that's why the life today is different
from the life, way back.
Yes.
Great, that's nice. Now, what kind of, I mean, you've given us a fair idea that the environment you grew up in, the kind of people you grew up with and that, but let's go deep inside the family. What kind of family setup did you grow up in? How many siblings did you have? Were things tough, easy, challenging? How were things like?
Well, seriously, I married, you know, I'm a Muslim, you know. I marry more than one, you know, sometimes, you know, Muslims, you know. You go through, you know, but my children's, I'm so happy that most of them are very successful.
Okay.
When I say they are very successful, I'm saying that they listen to me, they take my advice, and they do what I ask them to do, because the first of all, you have to educate your children.
True.
Give them good education.
True.
If you give them, don't think about property, leaving them property, okay? If property comes, that's later, okay? But the most important thing is to give your children good education.
Good education.
If you give them education, you have given them everything. And they will not think about, you know, property. If property comes, it's okay, you know. But I think, you know, the advice I will give is to give your children good education.
Good education, all right. Thank you so much.
And then watch them at the same time, watch your children, because some of them have talent. Because I remember when I was shooting a film, okay, and I was going all around, I started, you know, even though we haven't come to that, because I'm just giving, yes. But I will leave that until, you know.
We get to it, right?
We get to that.
Thank you so much. So with what you just answered, right, I mean, you've given us a perfect view on how family is like for your own family. What I wanted to find out was the kind of family you grew up in. You know, yes, exactly. Way back.
Yes, you know, the family that I grew up in, my mother was not educated at all, but my father was partially educated. He went to middle school.
Great.
Okay, we have, you know, so as a matter of fact, that's where I grew up, okay? But then they make sure that I really went to school properly, and I went to the extent of trying to go to the higher school, okay? And that is what they've done for me, you know. But my mother, no. You know, my father, you know, I mean, partially because middle school at that time, it's like you went to university.
Okay. No, that was the level
that's
back then.
That's the belief, But that's the family. But my father happened to be a good businessman.
Okay.
And he was then that time, he would go and he established himself much more into business than buying and selling.
Buying and selling, okay.
He goes to, Nigeria, buy these onions and whatnot. And if you know what is called ansawolo is a guinea fowl egg.
Okay.
Okay, and that time it was very popular in the system. Okay, you bring them here and then sell them and make so much money.
Wow.
And then during the time that we make what we call a festival, like the festival that is coming now, he goes to the north, he brings a lot of goods, sheep, and things like that and sell. So my father actually goes to all kind of business when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what he was doing.
Did you learn these things, the business ideas you have?
Well, at that time, when we were kids, we were more into sports, that kind of thing, So, and you see, our parents leave us alone, okay, on whatever we want to do. But you see, I didn't learn too much about going with my father to go and buy this kind of thing, But, what happened is, when they come, he was having some few trucks, okay, that brings this, and then the drivers at that time, they took very good care of us. When I say that, sometimes they try to be nice.
Okay.
When I say they try to be nice, too,
they sort you out.
Yeah, they sort me out,
Nice.
But anyway, apart from that, seriously, I, grew up, but I always follow my father, not to where they buy things and sell things, okay? But when we go into the mosque, when we, one or two things, they are going to ceremony or something, I'll follow my father. Yes, that's what I do.
You were that son?
Yes.
What were your childhood ambitions? I mean, you were inclined in sports, you were doing good in that, but did you have any dreams beyond sports? What did you see yourself doing at that age, the plans you had?
As a matter of fact, I wanted to become an automobile engineer. That was my aim. That was what I aimed for. And when I went to United States, I started, but I changed my plan at the end of it, okay? Then, I went to school, for music and then interior decorating.
Yeah.
I had my diploma for the interior decorating, and I learned a little bit of business, and then business of music, and that's where I realized. So I realized that at that time, the business people were making it better than somebody working for, and so because I've seen a lot of people at that time that were doing business and they were making it big, okay, than going into working for somebody. But I actually at that time I tried to manage, to become a, interior decorator. Okay, I have a diploma for that. And then apart from that, business administration,
okay,
which I have, degree for that, because that's what helped me.
That's what helped
when I came back to Ghana. You see, after the contract with the Radio Corporation of America, when I came to Ghana, that's what helped me to establish myself. And that's what I would say make me what I am today.
What you are today.
Yes.
Wow. I'm still on the early years, of your life. You went to, let me check this one once again. The name of the school. You went to the government boys' school.
That's right.
And then the African college.
African college, yes.
How would you describe the experiences in these two institutions, and how did they shape you into who you are today?
Government boys' school happened to be a school that give you a good education, and you see a discipline, come from that school. If you look at our president now, he came to, government boys' school. He was at government boys' school.
Was he your junior? Obviously,
he was my junior at that time. You know, I'm older than, yes, you know. Yes, you know, but, you know, one thing is in the school, the students, they were trained to be disciplined, and then education, you know, I mean, the teachers were good.
Yeah.
Because, and then our competitors at that time were Accra Royal.
Okay.
Okay, when you talk about sports, you know, at that time, okay? You know, so, in fact, you know, it's a school that I'm always proud of, you know, seriously. And then African College is no more, okay? African College, what you see now, government boss is now called Kimbu now.
Kimbu, yes.
It's not, no more calling, you
There's
know.
no more calling.
But, you know, African College, you know, seriously, you know, it was a school that was also established at that time, but now they are no more.
They are no more.
Yes.
But there are days you definitely look back and then feel proud of.
Oh, yes, I do. I do, because we were having good teachers, you know, and then we had a very good education from that school. Yes.
You wanted to be an automotive, what's the name? Automobile engineer.
Yes.
But you were very inclined in sports. Is it fair to say you saw a career in both? Did you see yourself going far, like becoming a professional sportsman or athlete alongside being an automobile engineer?
No, the fact is, you know, at that time, I love cars, in particular. When I say automobile, you know, I'm talking about cars, not mobile, okay?
Yeah.
You know, automobile, mobile engineer.
Yeah.
Well, you know, at that time, I love cars, and I had wanted to be, you know, an engineer, you know, somebody who can actually work on cars, you know, and things like that. You know, that's what I really love. Then later on, I had to change my mind, you know, because when you look at the duration when you are going to go into that, you know, to take a long time.
Take a long time, yeah.
So I decided to change. And I also like interior, I like decorating. You see, like my houses, I design it, I do everything, you know. And seriously, you know, it helps a lot. And when you're talking about interior decorating, because I happen to have a few friends, even when I was in US, that I designed
for.
You know, yes, you know, So I want to, and then the music also happened to come, you know, in, you know, because I love music so much, you know, that I get involved. I went to New York School of Music in the night, and that's where I also get involved into music. Yes.
Speaking about music, would you say music found you or you found music along the line? Because it came in, you mentioned that it came in, but is this something you had at the back of your mind, low-key, you had the talent for it, or you found yourself loving it along the line? Did it find you or you found it?
Yes, I would say, you know, I mean, I found it because when I was in school, especially the government boys' school, you know, we have a band.
Yeah.
That they played there, and then we used to be with the band, and I love music at that time so much, okay? So I think it helps, you know, but all along when I went to the, you know, the night school, I was trying to learn one or two things more into music, and that was very, very helpful. Then luckily for me, okay, I had somebody who happened to be a producer, you know, who actually contacted me. That time I was playing non-professional baseball. Non-professional baseball in the US at that time. So before the, you know, match, what I do is I compose a song for our
team.
Yes.
Okay.
No, the you know, our fans.
Oh, okay.
Okay. We have because they were the people who cheer us up, and there was nothing much that I do because I use this African type of thing, you know. And you know, like something like that, you know. You know, and then
you are the German guy,
you know, and you know, some of us.
And these were people in the US, and they were still responding.
In the US, yes, you know, you just have to teach them; they know everything. So anyway, what happened is this is how the whole thing started. This is how the music really came in.
Yeah.
You know, and Chubby Checker. I don't know whether you have heard.
No,
heard. He was then a rock and roll champion at that time. He was actually on top when he talked about rock and roll.
Yeah.
It's called Chubby Checker, and Chubby Checker manager, he was the one who actually realized that no, there is talent on this man. Let's see if, and then he called me. And he told me that he wanted me to go to recording studio. So we went to the studio to go and do the recording. And then the first recording that I did, he did not like it. For the fact that, because I went to school and learned, I was trying to, better my voice and trying to sing well, like, more trying to imitate more Americans and things like that, which he didn't like.
Yeah, you were trying to put in the accent and all that.
That's right. So he did not like it. So he told me, he said, no, that I have to. He just come and stop the recording. And then we stopped and we went home. And then he told me that, look, what I want is I want you to really sing like an African.
Yeah, the original.
What you have been doing when you used to compose this song for the fans. That's what I wanted. I don't want you to sing. If you want to sing like Michael Jackson, I have millions of them here. So go out of that and sing like an. This is how I actually changed my. I just went home and then we rehearsed, and then that's when I came out with Karambani, a song called Karambani. A song called Karambani is nothing than talking.
Okay.
On the listen, it wasn't singing. Okay, and
I just chanting on the instrument.
That's right. I wish you have the.
We'll get it. We'll play it for you. Don't worry.
You will understand what I'm saying. But then I was surprised that then he had a contract with Radio Corporation of America in New York with that album. The radio RCA actually decided to take the album, and this is where I started my music career really on the international level.
So you actually started on the international level.
That is correct.
And I'm not sure you intended it to go that far.
Well, no, not exactly. Because I was then at that time I'm more into business than But then music is also business. You see, so when it went so far, and then I had a contract with RCA, then I realized that no, I must stay there, okay? And this is how I was able to make the album called Buari is the title of the album, but Karambani, the hit, became number 36 on the chart at that time, which of course became a hit. And I remember at that time it was something that it was big.
Help me understand the kind of artists that were in the chart back then.
Oh,
the James Browns?
We have no. We have Angela Bofill.
Okay.
I don't know whether you've heard the name.
I have, but I don't really know much about it. Yeah.
Angela Bofill, if you find out, the Grammy Award, not too long ago, he was nominated. He was the Makuro singer.
Wow.
Okay, and if you could understand at that time, I wish I bring the album to you, so that you could see it.
Alhaji, you know what?
Yes.
Let's blow your mind for a minute. We want people to just get into the mood. Let's understand the song. We're about to talk about the music proper, but this is I want you to introduce it yourself. We have the song here for you. It's Karambani.
Yes, Karambani.
And is it a Hausa word?
It's Hausa word.
What does it mean?
Karambani is too known.
Too known.
You know too much.
Let's enjoy it, guys. So this is a re-recorded, edition of Karambani. We're trying to get the original, for Alhaji. We'll definitely get to that in a bit. But at this point, you had realized music was the thing. Music was moving for you. We're getting all the accolades. Were you thinking about Ghana at any point? Was Ghana at the back of your mind at any point? I mean, bringing the music back to Ghana?
Well, I was then trying because, to tell the truth, I never liked to stay in the U.S.
Okay.
I always want to come to Ghana.
Come back.
Seriously, I was thinking of coming to establish myself in Ghana, establish business here in Ghana. And that's what I was always thinking to do. And that's what I did. I came to Ghana seriously to establish myself. Because when I was coming, I came with recording studio, and then automatic, what do you call, the video recording, and then editing facilities and all these things. You know,
you came back with all that to do.
I came with all that.
So how long did you stay in the U.S.?
I stayed there for about 17 years.
17 years.
Yes.
And it was sports in the beginning, business along the line, and then music.
Along the music.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, so your debut album, still on the music, the debut album won you an ECRAG award. Okay, how did this recognition spur your efforts, to write your name in the books of Ghana's music history?
Well, RCA doesn't give award. The only thing is, when you are on the chart, okay, sometimes you can be nominated or something like that, but that did not happen at that time. But if you really want to know the fact about this Karambani, it was a hit at that time, and it was on the chart. Number 36.
Number 36. That was big.
Very big, at that time, because that's where I really made it at that time. Seriously. When you talk about it, in America, when they are buying albums, they buy it in a volume, and that time, things were really good.
Do you remember the number of records you sold back then? Have a fair idea?
I really don't. I do know how much I made.
Let's go to that.
We can't go to that.
Give us a fair idea. Was it good?
It was very good.
It was very good.
Okay?
It was good enough to set you up.
That is correct. That's what I wanted to do. I was able to get enough money that would set me up here in Ghana, and that's what I did.
That's what you did.
Yes.
So you established the SIT Studios and then brought some relief to music back then. I mean, you mentioned that you brought a lot of music instruments and that. How were you able to make this happen, and to what extent of its impact, to what extent do you think this establishment, made an impact on music back then? What were the changes you saw in music after you set up SIT Studios? You brought in all those things. Of course, it came with professional, people who worked on music as well.
Because I am into music, and at that time I want to help, most of the musicians here in this country. You see, I wanted to help most of the musicians, because there are musicians with talent here in this country. You understand? And I wanted to bring equipments, like recording studio equipments. And then audiovisual, also talking about a film production, that line. And I think that is the business that I wanted to establish. That's what I did.
That's what you did.
Okay, yes.
Nice. Now, so what were some of the great achievements you had back then? What kind of productions did you work on, the audiovisual in particular, and then with the music too? Which kind of artists, what caliber of artists were recording with you?
When I first came to Ghana, I realized that the video production was not commercial. I'm talking about video. I'm not talking about other, the other film production, it was all right, because when you know Kwanzaa and them, they have come out with a lot of series of films that were very successful and they were very good. But then when you talk about video, which is just a cheap production, we call it, okay, there wasn't anything happening. The person who was actually producing video at that time is called Akufo.
Okay.
William Akufo.
Okay.
He was then having this Abiba and some other thing in the system, but they were showing that, and they were using VHS, just normal VHS, and then they were showing that in only small sentence. When you talk about small sentence, you see some few students, they go and watch like 2x4 room and things like that. That's when I came out with a video called Ayalulu.
Okay.
Is the title of the video.
The video.
When I came out with this video, I took it to Ghana Film. And as a matter of fact, they rejected it. They said no.
What was their reason?
The reason was that, when you look at the production at that time, it wasn't, actually the standard. And then when you look at, some few things, It's not actually internet, because when you talk about VHS or Super VHS, you realize that it's a machine that is not actually, it's a domestic machine.
It's a domestic machine.
It's what they use for wedding and all this kind of thing at that time. And therefore, you know, so what I did was I took it to opera
Square,
cinema.
yeah.
You know, opera cinema, and it was a big hit there. You know, we really made a lot of money, and seriously, it became one of commercial video production in this country. Then that is when the Ghana film called me.
Came back
they,
to you.
They came back. They wanted to show it at their theaters, Red Cinema, Raw, you know, and so on and so on. So I gave it to them. And that's how Ghanaian film started commercially, here in this country. Ayalolo was the one who took off. And that's when they went to William Akufo, and then went and took this Zinabu and all this thing, and then re-edited it, and then started following up. And they themselves started producing films, you know, and then other people. And that's how it started.
Wow.
You know, and seriously, because of that, I think some people came, Dodge Weller or some company came from Germany, and then they come and to call me, and then they took me to NAFTI at that time to meet Bill Marshall, and then, you know, they wanted me to travel to all African countries because they have branches all over Africa. And they wanted me to go and teach them how to produce a film commercially. And then we went to most of these African countries, and then to teach them, myself, Bill Marshall, and then some of the past students of NAFTI. We went there, and then it was very, and this is why I'm saying Ghana is the place when you talk about video production, that's where it started.
That's where it started from.
Yes, that's where it started from.
Wow. We'll go into the depths of, you know, videos and movies in a bit, but still on this, at what point did MUSIGA come in? Because clearly from what you're saying, it was pointed towards the direction of video production and then, you know, commercializing these things that were not really a thing here in Ghana. You went on tour, you did all that, you got into contact with the film, you know, agency in Ghana, and then they started putting you on, you started implementing the things, the changes that we see now. But at what point did MUSIGA come in?
MUSIGA?
Yes.
MUSIGA, I remember when I came to Ghana, there was at that time, you know, just after the revolution, you know, I mean, there was Dr. Benablala. You know, he was then one of the PNDC.
Yeah.
He called me, and then other musicians wanted to reform MUSIGA. So he formed actually a committee was set up at that time. Myself, then Ganaba, late Ganaba, and then late Joe Mensah, and Nana Kwame Mpedu, and Faisal Elwani. He was then a producer, but then he was about the team. And then they formed this team, and myself, so they formed this team because MUSIGA was gone for so many years, nobody was actually thinking about MUSIGA, and so what happened was that was the beginning of trying to set up MUSIGA again.
Properly setting it up again.
So we actually sat, and then there was an election that was held. That was in 1992, which of course Joe Mensah became the president of MUSIGA at that time, and I became the vice president. That's how it started. And then, you know, unfortunately for MUSIGA at that time, you see, we never had a place of operation. When I said we never, you know, we don't have an offices. We just have some 2x4 at community center at one time, and then later on at Kaokudi Workers Brigade, some small place, that we were operating. But luckily, my turn, when I became the president, in that time, when 1992, when I became, you know, we tried to, you know, approach some of the people who we wanted them to help us. And then we went to also the president at that time, which was J.J. Rollins.
Okay.
Okay, and then J.J. Rollins gave us the old passport office, and that was renovated. And when it was renovated, that's what became the national headquarters of the Musicians Union of Ghana today. You know, and it was actually launched by late Professor Tamils, you know, and, you know, that's when we started business of music. You know, that's when we were able to sit down. The musicians were coming to register, and it was really working well at that time, yes.
You were head, of course, you were vice president for a while, and then you became president, but throughout your stay or your tenure of office, you know, at MUSIGA, what were some of the challenges musicians and the music in Ghana was facing at large?
Well, you know, some of the musicians, as a matter of fact, at that time, you know, they are getting work, okay, but they were not paying right, you know, and that was the reason of establishment of the, you know, I mean, the union, you know, to be able to help your, you know, I mean, your members. And seriously, you know, there are challenges. Is sometimes the producers will take them and they won't pay them right, and there were a lot of problems. But what we did was, you know, we tried to, you know, establish a place where they can get their contract if they want to sign a contract with a producer. Okay, so they have a contract free if you are our members. You know, we give you free contract so that you can feel, and then at least you can be protected, you know, if you have that kind of contract that we have. So that was what we were doing, and they were doing well. You know, at that time, the musicians at that time, they weren't having too much problem like they used to with their producers. You know, so things were moving on.
Moving on normal.
Better, yeah.
I was told at some point, through your leadership, Ghana had an association with the International Federation of Musicians. I mean, it began during your term. What benefits did it bring to the music industry back then and now? I mean, I'm sure it still continues.
Yes, you know, when coming to the International Federation of Musicians, I remember very well that I was voted, as it's my time that I affiliated, or we, me and my team, affiliated Musician Union to the International Federation of Musicians. And then, you know, I was made a chairman of the African Committee in Malawi, and that was 2002.
2002.
Okay, I was made, you know, and then later on, I was made the vice president of International Federation of Musicians because of the help that I was given to the Africans at that time. Now, the benefit that we were getting is, you know, they actually come in with workshops and a whole lot of things. You know, with education, you should be able to do your business well.
Yes.
And they have been supporting us in so many ways in education, and then talking about even the copyright issue. Okay, they've been very helpful because they have their lawyers, and, you know, that's where we get the help from them. Yes.
Wow. So let's put the music on pause for a minute. We're going to revisit it once again. But guys, if you have a question for Alhaji Sidiku Buari on all these things that he's mentioned, if you have any other question, 02022220073, keep it clean. You talked about your intervention when it comes to video production. You mentioned Ayalolo, the first one you did. When you brought about this change, one thing I know is change is a very painful thing to apply in any society. Did you encounter any opposing forces then? The challenges, were people challenging the new ways that you had brought? If there were any challenges, you know, towards what you were trying to bring, how did you maneuver your way through?
Well, you know, I remember very well that when we came out with Ayalolo, okay, there were challenges because challenges technically, okay, the film production, you know, have to be solid, the sound has to be right, and some other things which would not have the right machine,
Yeah.
okay, to do that at that time. But then we were able to manage. But, you know, I will say at that time it worked because the Ghanaians had wanted to see themselves
Yep.
in the film. So
Yep.
we had most of the star also in that film. And so they really love it. You see, they managed with it and then it became a big thing. And that really put video production in the high position. Then that is why when they stopped showing the cellular films and things, you know, yes.
So help me understand this. I mean, so it means before your intervention, the thing was that, what did you mention?
Cellular.
All right. And those were just a few places.
Yes.
That was how the cinemas
Yes.
back here in Ghana back then were operated.
Yes.
But then the VHS was a home thing, and then you
Yes.
made it commercial.
That's right.
Great. All right, I understand that. Subsequently, another production of yours became a box office hit. You know, at the cinemas. How did these successes enable you and the industry to expand and develop young talents? Which of the movies was it, by the way? The productions. One of the productions became a box office hit.
A box office.
Yes.
No,
yeah.
no, most of, you know, about since.
I mean,
you
after
know,
Ayololo,
I have
there was another one.
Man, woman who used to blame, jealousy, you know, a whole lot of films. 16, you know, films that I produced, you know, from Ayalolo and Ogbo. I don't know, Ogbo part 1, part 2, and so on. You know, at that time,
It was countless.
it was a big thing. You know, we have only one radio station at that time. And one radio station was GBC, and that's it. GTV, GBC. And during that time, when you advertise, a lot of people actually,
wow.
you know, it's not like today, where you be advertising here, but
Somebody
you know,
will not listen.
you know, that they listen at that time to one station at that time, and it worked because I remember at that time, even though they show film sometimes 4 times a day, now Ayalolo was shown 6 times every day at the Orion Cinema, 6 times a day.
And was this fetching you money in Ghana too?
A lot of money.
money.
Lot of money. Well, box office, I tell you, at that time, you know, Ayalolo was a very big thing, you know, in the country at that time, you know, because it was the first commercial video production.
Yeah.
And advert was made very well, and it worked perfectly at that time.
Along video production, or alongside video production, I was told you were also actively involved in the disco night entertainment scene back in the 90s. How impactful was this to the arts industry? And how did you even get into that?
Yes, you see, I have a disco that is called Funky Town Disco.
Okay.
I don't know whether you have heard a Funky Town Disco. Was a very big disco at that time that I owned myself at Jowulu. Okay, it was a big thing. You know, we have a oldies night also at that time where you see a grown-up people come at certain days, you know, that we give them. It was it was very wonderful, seriously.
Were the days like how club days are today? What was different?
No, there is no club today. You see, now there is no disco like it used to be before.
How so?
I don't know, you know, but the fact is, you know, video, you know, disco fade out. It fade out for one reason or the other. And started fading up during the time of revolution, okay, but it comes back again, okay, then it fade up, you know, again, but during that time, the disco was a big thing because you want to go out in the, especially at the weekend, you go to a disco and you really enjoy yourself. But I don't know, the management nowadays is different. The youth now, I don't know.
Alhaji, isn't it fair to say it evolved into a new shape? Because there are still clubs. I mean, I don't know. Back then, Funky Time was the only, right? Here in Accra?
No,
it wasn't the only.
It wasn't only Funky Town. They have a lot of this, especially Atosu.
Atosu.
They have, you know, they have Black Caesar, and they have all kind of.
They still have a lot of clubs in town today, but I think maybe it's evolved.
But
Styles are different, but it's not fun like.
I don't know whether because I'm old, so because I don't go to disco nowadays.
You don't go. When was the last time you went to the disco?
Oh wow, that will be about 40 years ago.
Wow. I think so. It will be fair to say it's evolved because we are from this time, and I don't know how the experience was back then, but now there's still clubs, there are different clubs that operate, and I mean, a few are restricted now because of the COVID restrictions and that, but then clubbing now, I don't know about back then, but it's fun now, Alhaji. You go to the club, there's music, DJs spinning, digital music is spinning, there are bottles, there are ladies, all that MCs,
wow.
Hype men and hype women.
Wow.
It's fun.
Wow. Well, I think one of these days
we'll make that happen.
To just pass by.
We'll make that happen. We'll make that happen. I know fair enough when you experience club now, you definitely say it's evolved.
One of these days I'll see what I can do, because I just want to see how it's happening now.
Just give me a call. Let's make it happen.
Compared to that, I'll give you a call.
No problem. Right. Now, in your personal opinion, Alhaji, what have we fallen short in terms of the growth of the local film industry?
Well, you see, the cinema houses have closed down.
Okay.
Because most of these places are now used for churches or some other activities. What I think that the government can make a lot of money if they establish a lot of theaters. I'm telling you, the theaters where people can perform, okay, and anybody, if I were to be a young guy, okay, that's the business I will look into.
You'll get into.
Because, if you establish a place of performances, believe me, you can make a lot of money.
Okay, so they should bring more theaters.
More theaters, that will help, okay? Because right now, where are you going? Unless, of course, go to mall, and then that's where they have a theater in some few places.
The cinemas.
Okay?
Yeah.
Or maybe you show it at National Theatre and so on, But you see, the theaters, because I was having a theater, Sid Theatre at Jolu, happened to belong to me, okay? And at that time, when I was having the theater, I know things were really working well, okay? But now it's a good business. If you establish in that kind of business, believe me, you make it.
All right, so I want to understand, is it establishing cinemas to show productions that are made here?
Yes.
So the money is made, or just getting more people to get into the cinema business itself? You think it should be a stake owned by the government?
Well, it depends, okay? Usually when private is managing something, most of the time they manage it well.
Okay.
That I have to tell you the truth.
Okay.
When it's for you, okay, and you have your workers, you'll be able to concentrate. Most of the time when it's a government, it's sometimes, okay, it's not well managed. Well, okay? But when it's for, look, let me tell you, there are even stadium, okay? When you put up a stadium, you can get people to hire it, okay, and make a lot of money.
A lot of money from it.
Because it's not only football that you play there, okay, but you can, the concert and so on and so forth, you can bring it there. The churches will come with their own. The Muslim will come, if they need a large volume of people to come in there, you need a bigger place to really operate. But if you can establish in that kind of business, I tell you, you make it.
You make a lot of money.
Yes.
Okay, so that is on the government side, what the government can do. But to the people involved, the businessmen in the movie business, the actors, the stakeholders pretty much, what do you think should be done to, because you and I will attest to the fact that these days word about movies, Ghana movies industry or Ghana's movie industry or local film industry isn't something we can really be proud of. People don't really speak good about that. We compare our market and our industry to markets in Nigeria, in South Africa and the rest, and you can't really say much about us. What do you think is the issue beyond what the government can do? What do you think the stakeholders, the local stakeholders can also do?
You see, what happened is in Nigeria, for instance, the video production started from here in Ghana.
And then it went to Nigeria.
A lot of people don't know. But Nigeria overtake us because they have a good gadget, good equipment, they establish themselves well, and they pay the artists well. Okay? It's nothing compared to Ghana, where they pay you some few cedis and they say, go ahead and go and stand here and do this and that. You see, when the script is given to you, you are given good money. You should be able to come out right, you know, and then you are talking about professionals.
Yes.
Okay? Now the professionals, okay, they do the work and they know what to do. But here in Ghana, sometimes you go and get somebody and say, look, I want you to stand here, I want you to make a move. And then, you know, you put him in your movie. That's not the way it's being done. Okay? It has to be something. Look, we started the film production in this country. We should be able to make it better. Okay? Nigeria overtake us because Nigeria have all the facilities and they have people that they went to university to train them purposely for that kind of acting. Okay? And they know what they are doing. Do you understand, sir?
Yes.
But we still have a lot of talent here in this country who are so good. I'm telling you, better. But unfortunately, the money they pay them is scanty, you know, and seriously, you not be proud of yourself if you are getting it. That's why most of them would like to, you know,
to Nigeria,
they go to Nigeria to go on. Yes, you know, so I think it is very important for us to get ourselves established well. It's an industry that when the government put money in there, the government will make its money back. Me, I'm very happy. Now, one of us is in the Ministry of
Creative Arts.
Creative Arts, okay? And I think it can be very helpful, okay? It can be very helpful, seriously. You know, because if the government will put the money into art section, you will be surprised the type of money they can make. Look at the tourism. Listen, they want to entertain themselves. That's why they travel here. They are tourists. They want to see what is happening.
True.
They want to be happy.
True.
How are they going to be happy? Are they just coming to walk around and that's all? That will make them happy. You need the musician to go and perform somewhere. We have a lot of places where the musicians can go there, establish the place well, let the musicians go and perform there maybe every weekend and things like that, so that when the tourists come, they will get a place to go. Okay, they want to entertain and be happy, you know, entertain themselves. So I think those are the places I think government can make a lot of money.
All right, so that is on the government side once again, but you touched on one thing that is very important in my opinion. I mean, revenue for our local actors and actresses, I mean the arts people involved. The fact that we don't pay them much. Are we supposed to get to a point where there should be a coalition to decide on a standardized payment system? You know, let's say if you want to pay a videographer, if you want to pay an actor for a movie, the base amount you're supposed to pay is this much or that much. And then maybe based on the sales that a movie makes, you add some more to it. Shouldn't we get to a part where there should be an intervention from a group or an organization of that sort? Somehow,
you see, there should be a standard of payment. Okay, exactly how much you should pay and what kind of performance the person is putting on. You know, it depends. Okay, then you pay the person well, and if you pay somebody well, you will act very well. Okay, it's like a musician. Also, when you take the musician to a place and you don't pay him well, okay, the performance will be, you know, a bit decent. But if you pay him well, okay, you understand, see, he will do his best to perform well. Okay, you know, what they are doing, what we are doing here, okay, we need to at least standardize the whole thing and bring it up a little bit. The payment for the actors, actresses, and so on is too low. Okay, what we are giving them is too low because they spend so much money. Okay, yeah, they spend so much money to buy, you know, sometimes the costume. You don't even give them the costume. They have to bring their own costume, you know. And if you have to bring your costume, you have to do this, you have to do that. You need to pay for it. You see, unless of course sometimes you have to actually provide the costumes and so on and so forth. These are the things that matters. You know, we need to be very, very careful, because looking at our standard of payment, but you see, Ghana is not like, see, Nigeria is very big. And then the sales there is large. It's
Yeah,
big.
definitely bigger than
Okay,
Ghana.
it's nothing really compared to, you know, Ghana. But if you want to know the talent, Ghana have a lot of talent, and better talents, believe me, than Nigeria.
Alhaji, do you, honestly speaking, do you think we've made good use or enough use of our stories that we have content? Because a school of, a different school of thoughts believe that Ghana can do well when it comes to our movie industry, local film industry, but then we lack when it comes to stories, ideas, storylines for our movies. Do you also believe in this?
Well, it depends, because most of the people who are producing movies and things like that, they want to make money.
Okay.
And they want a story that will bring them money. Okay? If you want to write a story that will bring you money, sometimes you go out of what you are talking about now. Because if I want to write a story, a real writing about, especially the marriage, everybody knows what it takes, okay? You write a good story and so on, it knows about that. But when there are lapses, it goes out, the woman leave the man, and then, later on, the man did not know the value of that woman at that time, and then the woman later on, and then the man went and begged and things like that. That one is a story that when you write,
Intriguing.
then you know exactly what. But sometimes we go straight, a man and a woman, they go for better, for worse, and then that is the end of it. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes it doesn't work that way. You see?
Alhaji, you've been in this industry for a long time. I want to find out. I mean, per my experience, I've seen tremendously well, done movies that told the storylines of the Shaka Zulus and the rest. I mean, folklore. I mean, stories from indigenous stories of these African countries, South Africa and the rest. Do you think we've been fair enough to our old stories when it comes to making movies now? If we haven't been fair, how easy or difficult is it to adapt a story of, let's say, Nana Ya Santua, and then to put it in a movie? Is it a difficult thing to do? Do you have to consult people, get rights anywhere? I mean, help us understand that.
Well, if you have to do certain things, you have to get right from the person. Now, the Ya Santua is no more, but there's somebody who is there, folklore, it's always there. But when you go to the copyright office, you should be able to get information on what to do.
Okay.
Because they will give you the breakdown on what you're supposed to be doing. But you just don't go and, capitalize on somebody's this thing and start
doing it.
Start acting on it. You see? But, talking about a good story about Yas and Tewa, for instance, it's a very good story. But you need to get the right, from somebody, especially the copyright office, okay, to be able to give you the right to go ahead, because there is somebody, because percentage has to go to,
the state of,
So I think that is also very, very important.
So at this point, guys, I will get a few questions from you all. 0202222073. Nana Kwame is locked in. I think Nana Kwame joined us on Facebook as well. He wants to find out. He says, Alhaji, good morning. How can we get or start getting royalties for our musicians on their music?
Well, I think the logging system now is no good.
Okay,
it's not good enough. Because we are not being fair to our musicians. You see, when your music is being played, they're supposed to log it. And when they log it, upon the logging and time, the duration, before you get paid. But that's not the way it's being done, because they don't have machine for it. So how do they pay the royalties to the right owners? You see, that's the problem that we are facing. My time, I had the same problem, but by now they would have solved that problem, because my time I was formerly a copyright chairman of the Copyright Society of Ghana. But that was the beginning.
That was the beginning.
Okay, the beginning we tried, but I am thinking by now it's solved, but it's still not solved.
You clearly mentioned that this was a problem that was there during your time.
It was there.
We've not been able to solve it? Would you attribute that to the fact that the subsequent, I mean, the leadership after you haven't really followed through with the problems that were there in the beginning? They don't listen, or they start with new plans? Because this clearly is an issue that has been there since, and as you mentioned, rightfully, you expected that it would have been solved by now. Is it that they didn't put efforts in, or they didn't even pick up the problems that were there before they came?
You know what happened in this country sometimes? You know, sometimes when you leave, the next person thinks, he has a different
agenda.
Okay, so this way you cannot talk about that. Okay, because let's say, for instance, maybe I'll do the same thing. Maybe I'll say, the man who was there before is not trying. Okay, so let me
do something else.
But I am thinking personally that it would have been solved by now.
Yes.
The reason why I'm saying that, it was a problem that was actually existing for too long a time. You know, musicians' music is being played. When it's being played, it must be logged, and there must be a machine, a centralized machine that they use. But that machine is very expensive. That's another thing we must know. But we need to sacrifice. That's why the government has to help.
Has to come in.
The government has to come in and help the industry to be able to establish themselves, so that the right person will get the right money that belongs to that person. You know, so it's very
Alhaji, you still have connect to this business and that. For clarity's sake, has there been efforts to ensure that the government knows? Does the government even know how much is involved in solving this issue? Has there been cries? Have steps been taken?
I think the government will know now.
Okay.
Why I'm saying this is because you have this Okrikumante, who is now the deputy minister, there. Okay, and I think he has been in this business for a while now. Okay, and he should be able to advise on certain issue. Okay, he should be able to advise on this very issue. So I think it is very important to actually make sure that the machine that is necessary to be able to monitor, everybody on the time they play your music, you know, to make sure that everybody gets what they belongs to them, okay? And each and every one of us will get what we think is for us. So if you said they play your song for about 2 seconds, 3 seconds, or whatever, then you know the duration they play a song, and then how much you're supposed to get paid. You see, but sometimes also some of the radio stations are not paying, the copyright office. So they are not making enough money to be able to, but then there is a levy that is always there. Apart from the payment of this, we have a levy, and then the levy is there. All this one belongs to the right owners. So I think it is very important to make sure that we get the right machine that will monitor, that will, as you play the song,
that will give us the data.
The data, okay, you must know, okay, and that this way you won't say because this one is popular, so we give him so much. This one is not popular, we give him so much. Maybe the one that you think is not popular, maybe they have been playing this song somewhere more than, and those people are paying their royalties or rights, Do you understand? They are paying to the Copyright Society. And if a radio station is playing and they are in Kumasi and they are paying, to the Copyright Society, definitely that money belongs to the person they are playing the song.
Alhaji, when you look at the efforts being put into fighting this cause currently as we speak, do you think there's hope for our artists? Do you think there's hope for our music industry, a large creative arts industry?
I think there is hope.
There's hope.
You see, because as we keep on going, I know the government will listen to us, okay? And when they listen to us, and I know, if the government listens to us, it's good for the government, okay? Because the era of the government also tells sometimes certain good things that the government has done, Okay? And seriously, you know, it is very important to do something about this. So because people are not getting their royalties that belongs to them. And they are having a problem.
Yeah.
There's some people, you don't know them. Okay, they are in the north. And they have been playing their song. And you don't even give them royalties at all. You see, which is bad. I remember during my time, even the royalties that we share, we take it to the region to go and share the money to them. Why do we do that? Because the money is not enough. If you tell him to come to Accra and you are paying somebody, let's say about 200 cedis, okay, and you tell him
spend
to
100
come to
cedis
Accra,
on transport alone.
You understand? So what I do is at that time they follow them with the money and pay to the bank, and the bank, you know, they will pay them there.
I even think now, if we're to pick up this conversation again, things will be far easier because there are online money payment systems. You know, now e-payments systems are the new ways, and so we have zero excuses on that. But I just pray, I mean, just as you said, I pray that the government is well aware of the problems that MUSIGA is facing now, and then of course they will put in effort to ensure that the tiny things that are supposed to be solved are solved, so that we'll get to a point where, you know, the artists will stop crying and get what they deserve.
Yeah, but it's not MUSIGA who paid royalties. The royalties is being paid by the copyright office. You know, Gamro are the one in charge now. Okay, when you talk about stakeholders payment and things like that, MUSIGA is the union.
It's the union, yes. But the union definitely has a say in that.
That's right. The union has a say, but then they don't have a control. The way it stands now, okay, is the chairman of, copyright, you know, who actually have to organize, even though we have members of the MUSIGA also there, okay, but then, you know, when you talk about the payment of royalties, they are actually in charge.
They are the ones in charge.
Yes, the copyright office.
But the MUSIGA is the union, it's the voice of the musicians.
It's the voice, that's right.
Definitely, definitely. So I feel, I mean, they should also have a stake in there. They will represent.
They do. They represent. You know, we have, I think, 2 or 3 representatives there, okay, which is good. But, you know, at the same time, it is very important to have the machine, okay, that will tell exactly this is where things go, this is one will get this, one will get that, and it's very important.
All right, thank you so much. Nana Kwame, I hope your question is answered. We're moving on to some other business. Alhaji, at this point, I want to find out your definition of success, okay? You've seen a lot in life. You've told us the story of your athletic life, you getting into music, movies, and that. How do you define success? Success according to the gospel of Alhaji Sidiku Buari.
Well, you know, Alhaji Sidiku Buari is a determined man. You know, I am always determined. You see, whatever I want to do in life, I'm very determined, okay, to make sure I achieve it. And that is what happened. Your determination, okay, and you know, when you do that, you should be able to achieve your aim. I think that is very, very important. Okay, determination, you know, and whatever you want to do in life, it depends on you. Yeah. Okay, you need to put your effort. If you want to be a footballer, you do a lot of hard work in training. And then you do a whole lot of things. If you want to go into business, you have to go deeply into that business and know who is doing it, and then go through it and make sure that, you know, you are doing the right thing before you invest your money. Because sometimes you go there, invest your money, and you see that your money is not coming. But you see the other person whose money, you know, is doing the same thing, but the money is coming. Maybe the way he does his business, maybe that's not the same. From Yes.
How do you spend a good time? I mean, you seem like a very busy man, but what do you do for fun if you're free?
Oh, if I'm free, I travel most of the time. Okay. I'm out of, you know, the country and out of the world. Okay, yes, that's what I'm saying. When I say I'm just joking, okay? But I just
zone out.
I like to be quiet sometime. Okay, I take time, you know, to go and then just relax, and then, you know, and that is how you build your health and your strength, you know, because you see, when you keep on going busy, I'm very busy, you're right, okay, but then at the same time, I always have time, once in a while to take it easy. Yes.
This is a rhetorical question, but do you love listening to music?
Oh, I love listening to music a lot.
A lot.
Yes, I love listening to music a lot. I love music. Seriously.
What kind of songs are your favorite songs now?
My favorite song, I don't know whether it's called Nyanyo Papa. You're talking about the current people.
Any of them. We're gonna get to the current ones. I mean, yes. So your favorite is Nyanyo
Papa. Nyanyo Papa is a song that I composed of that. I don't know whether you've heard,
I've heard it. I think I heard it on one of the stations.
Papa.
Yes.
Okay, I love that song.
You love that song.
For one reason or the other, it's one of my favorite.
And then the current ones. Who are your artists? Which artists are you listening to now? You have your songs on your phone.
One thing is, I love the musicians so much. If you want to know the truth, I love the musicians, and I just love all of them.
You just love all of them.
All of them. Okay, they are doing their best. They are doing.
All of them are doing a good job.
Yeah.
But which songs are stuck with you now? I mean, songs that when you're free, just play in your head. Ghanaian songs now. I'm sure you might have. Yes, the current ones. The current ones.
Me, I'm not a Christian, okay? But I'm a Muslim. But this lady, who won Dana Hamilton, her song, I love it.
Adum. Yes, you love Adum.
I love that Adum. The composition, because music is to educate and to inform. You see, when you are educating people through your music, that's what I like. And the way that she composed the song, the way that the song goes, I love it.
You just love it. All right, we'll definitely play that one for you since it's your current favorite.
Yes.
But what are your last words to the youth of this country, especially to the free-spirited and multi-talented ones like you, the ones who want to seriously make it, the ones who have plans of changing the creative arts industry, young people who want to just cause a change, a positive change in their society, just like you did? What would be your advice to them at this point?
My advice to them is for them to be determined, okay, and to make sure that whatever they want to do is possible. There is nothing in this world that is impossible. That's what should be in their head all the time. Nothing is impossible. The matter, just make sure that you practice what you are going to do and then concentrate and then determine. And you should be able to make it. Sky is your limit. You understand? Whatever you want to do in life, it depends on you, yourself. It depends on how you are determined to do it. Because whatever you want to be, it's up to you.
It's in your hands.
It's in your hand, And that's the reason why I see some of the people are making it. If you are not making it today, maybe you make it tomorrow. Okay, you just keep on going and try to do your very best of whatever you do. Just make sure you want to be on the top. Let that be on your head, that you want to be on the top. Now, if it's not coming this year, it may come next year. Yes.
Thank you so much, Alhaji. I so wanted to say amen to that. Alhaji, are we getting a movie based on your life story? Are you planning on doing anything like that? Have you been approached by anybody to get a movie, a film in your name?
Yes, we are working on it.
You're working on that.
We are working on that.
So that should hit the cinemas soon, right?
Working on that, because when you look at what you have done all these years and all these days, you feel you need to put something down, So I think, very soon
it will hit the cinemas.
Be able to come out.
All right, sure. Hold on to your word for that. But thank you so much for spending time with us. I think I have all the answers. I pray my listeners also have theirs as well. But it was a privilege having you on here. And thank you so much for taking time off your busy schedule to spend time with Y Leaderboardseries and, of course, Y 107.9. Wish you the very best. We're here to support. We're here to support brands like you, people who have invested so much into this country. Our doors are always open for any project you do, whatever it is. So long as you want to talk to the youth, this is the place to come to.
Thank you so much. It's a great honor, and I'm so happy to be here.
All right. So we're going to play that song for you.
Yes.
Adum, and I'll try and see if you know the lyrics.
Okay.
Yanko.
Congratulations, you found the one station that plays Ghana's best urban music.
YFM.
Listen to YFM 107.9 Accra, 102.5 Kumasi, and 97.9 at Takoradi.